Hey people, Intro here, 3v3 Faction War. This is Deathworld Temple and Eldar versus Tyranids. On the blue Eldar team, Angel, where have you gone today? You are as a Warlock, a melee spellcaster that can leap into combat, some powerful disruption and support alongside the Tenso and a Warp Spider Exarch, a teleporting hero fighting in ranged combat by default, great for capping and harassing, some powerful control. And rounding off the team is DIsaPOinted with a Farseer support hero fighting in melee with some powerful buffs and control. This is the Exarch's elite scheme. There we are. On the red Tyranid team, Kasuga 7 as a Ravener Alpha, a tunneling hero with great mobility, powerful offense, and a bit of support, begins with a ranged weapon alongside Bulbus and a Lictor Alpha, a melee specialist, can infiltrate and disrupt, some powerful offense and a bit of support. Already getting into it in the kind of center west area. And rounding off the teams is bocchi as a Hive Tyrant, a durable hero walking through objects, cannot be suppressed, bringing offense, disruption and support. Begins in melee with a basic synapse. I shall call you Alfredo. Let's get back to that engagement in this center west location. Lictor Alpha is pew-pewed off the field. Howling Banshees into retreat path, getting some good chops in, but they can't finish him off. Means he has to stay back and heal for longer though, innit? And the aspect of fleetness coming in for the Tenso's Howling Banshees here. DIsaPOinted with no aspect yet. Oh, there it goes. More aspect of fleetness to jump over stuff. Deathworld Temple. This was the first ever Dawn of War 2 map that I made. It must have been 12, 13 years ago. Good grief. And I mean, it shows it that it's someone's first map, I think. The layout is a bit weird. Some of the visuals are a bit weird. But it's alright. Howling Banshees in on some termagants. Can they finish them? Howling Banshees are amazing at chasing. Looks like they survive. Are they going to get hit by the base turret? They did not. They did get hit by a flesh hook though. She got eaten. Down to 4 models, but they're staying in play for now. This is triple Guardians for Angel. Lots of pew-pew, and they are locking the Tyranids near their bases at the moment. Ravener Alpha makes a tunnel. He's already got one back at base. The termagants here do wipe. Those were Kasuga 7s. Not sure. I don't think they had toxin sacks, so they can be replaced quite easily and cheaply. Yep, Eldar have capped up the mid. And they are staying on this corner point. Oh, Ravener Alpha's been sneaky now. With the hardened carapace, allows him to burrow. And then he can strike out and knock stuff around. Also gives him more health and energy. There we go. That sets up the push nicely. Warrior Brood in play for Bulbus. Synapse creature with power melee damage can leap into combat and disrupt. There we go. Just whack some Guardians out of Angel's army. Warp Spider Exarch getting very low there, but able to teleport away. On the east side, VP is red. The VPs on the east and west are very, very, very slightly closer to the south on the west side and the north on the east side. I don't think you could call them natural VPs though. They're all contested. Rangers coming in for Angel. Warrior Brood getting very low, but doing some really good work, providing some basic synapse to all of these Tyranid friends. Adrenal Glands in for this Hormagaunt Brood. The Howling Banshees barely got away, you know. I hear more Banshees yelling over here. The War Shout suppressing nearby enemies. In on the Ravener Brood here. Ravener Brood can't stay here. Farseer, have you used your guide? There it is. Guide just goes down on the Howling Banshees. Gives them 30% more damage and more range, but they are mainly concerned with the damage, of course, being a melee squad, and he just got crippling poisoned. Needs to be quick on that, because these Banshees are dangerous. Maybe some Seismic Roar? Yes, Rending Talons coming in for Seismic Roar. Ravener Brood reinforcing back up base. These termagants haven't run yet. Now they run. Hormagaunts coming in. These guys do not have Adrenal Glands, but the Banshees were quite low. Alfredo, the Hive Tyrant, coming to try and help. Taking a while though. There's Guide on the Banshees. Should have maybe just put Guide on herself. The Banshees die to a Seismic Roar. Does some piercing damage up front, and it leaves some damage over time. Tyranid crap on the ground. And a knockback, of course. It's a really nice ability, actually. Especially in Elite Mod, where they tweak the animation. If you go back to retail and try to use Seismic Roar, the Hive Tyrant will stand around for like a second and a half afterwards. Not sure if that was intended to balance it by relic, but it didn't feel good to use. So they adjusted it in Elite Mod. Heavy Gauge, Death Spinner in for the Warp Spider Exarch. The Farseer has her Spirit Stones. Does not replace her Banshees. Grenade. Put it behind these guys to try and force them to retreat into it, but it didn't work out. Kasuga 7 was live to such shenanigans. We got Adrenal Gland on second Hormagaunt Brood for Kasuga 7. More Hormagaunts also for Bulbus with Adrenal Glands. Raveners are still ranged for bocchi. These Hormagaunts have come to the wrong neighborhood. Yeah, they're going to eat grenade if they're not careful. A tunnel up all the way in the northeast corner. Wait, can we see it? Oh, there it is. Behind the building. That is sneaky. Another one up in the northwest corner. Very, very sneaky. Lots of chat there that I can't read. Hopefully it's nothing obscene that's going to get me in trouble. Lictor Alpha. Toxin Miasma in. Damage over time weapon that also debuffs the target. Adrenal Glands for some basic stat boosts, and the Pheromone Cloud via the Pheromone, which is amazing. Debuffs enemies and allows you to reinforce. With a horde of Hormagaunts can be really nasty. Are these guys going to wipe? Surely they are. Termagant Brood is down. Those were Kasuga 7s. Did he bash any gens? He must have. There must have been 3 gens here, surely. There's Catalyst. On the Hormagaunt Brood, that's a global ability of the Ravener Alpha, doubling their damage output, but it drains their health while it's active. I think it drains 50% of their health. Are they going to escape? They might be far enough away, but look at the Banshee chase using their fleet, which does reduce their damage, but if it means getting a hit versus not getting any hits, it's worth doing, innit? 364 to 469s from tier 2s coming through. Double shurikens now for DIsaPOinted. Lictor Alpha here up in the northeast corner, harassing. Warrior Brood just taking the wreck point. Double Hormagaunts in here. There's the shuriken. Lictor Alpha sneaks in though. Gets a good special, disrupting them. The other guys follow in. Should send some guys on these Guardians here. They don't have a grenade, so they can't really threaten. Farseer does a fancy special attack, but it misses. Guardians are eaten so quickly. And the shuriken goes down. Really, really tough engagement for DIsaPOinted. Nasty Ravener tunnel flank from this Lictor Alpha, eh? And here's Alfredo, the Hive Tyrant. Rending Talons, Extended Carapace for the charge, and level 2. There's tier 2 for DIsaPOinted. What do you get here? Do you falcon it up? Wraithord would be awesome. Not sure if that could be afforded in good time, though. Unless something's been queued up already. I don't think you get Wraithguard because the Hive Tyrant can just charge you. And the Raveners can burrow them as well. 1-to-1 cap here. All the gens down for the Tyranids in the southwest corner. And we see a webway on the eastern edge. Another tunnel down there, look. And some action in this kind of center-east area. Howling Banshees getting knocked over by the Warrior Broods. They need to run. Some grenades going in here and there. Did the Banshees survive? Lictor Alpha is sent packing finally within so much harassing back there. There is this giant wall in front of the bases. So you need to kind of, if you're the mid player, you need to pick a side. Unless you're a Warp Spider, of course, you could teleport through the wall. Adrenal Glands queued up for this Warrior Brood. Can the Warp Spider Exarch get away? Getting knocked around. Cannot get away. Should get revived from there, though. Farseer doing her best. Sends some Termagants packing, but she may need to run. I think she's going to go down, you know. Down she goes. Lots of nice revive XP waiting for the Warlock then. These guys still piling on pressure. We have some Warp Spiders for the Tenso. Good choice. Do some really good anti-infantry damage. Can teleport around and frustrate the melee squads. There's a charge from Alfredo. They're pouring damage onto the Hive Tyrant himself at the moment. Howling Banshee's chasing things off. Need to be wary of that seismic roar. Maybe it's been used already. It's all cooldown. There it is. Nasty ability, eh? It's a good weapon as well. 75 DPS is nasty. Even if it's not seismic roaring. Hive Tyrant runs away. Alfredo will be back. Tier 3 for bocchi, actually. On the west side, Tyranids pouring through onto the power again. Kasuga 7 mentioning tunnel back there. Maybe highlighting them for his allies so they know that they're up. Rangers can disrupt from long range, which is very handy when you're being rushed by a bunch of melee stuff. Good grenade. Warrior Brood survive. Lictor Alpha hits level 4. He's doing some really good work. Pheromones allowing those guys to reinforce, of course. Warp Spider got flesh hooked and eaten. Another revive there for the Warlock level 3 with Witchblade of Kernus for some ethereal slash goodness, maybe. Another revive waiting for you over here, Angel. Lictor Alpha is sent packing, maybe taken down. Warp Spiders on retreat path, with the crack shot global buffing them from the Warp Spider Exarch, giving increased damage and range. It's kind of like the Farseer's guide, but from the global bar. Over on the east side again, a nice grenade. On the power, can it be defended? Shuriken's in a good spot to do so. Ravener Brood are a bit low, so I don't think they're going to burrow strike. And we do see Wraithguard for DIsaPOinted. So much for me saying it was not a good idea. It's going to do some great work here. The Wraithguard armed with their Wraith Cannons doing big bursts of damage in an area, suppressing infantry, good damage to all targets. Hive Tyrant, oh, he tried to charge the Shuriken, runs into a generator. Pretty sure in the lore that would not stop a Hive Tyrant. Generally they're meant to be like way bigger than this, I believe. They were kind of scaled down a bit for Dawn of War 2. Still going. Level 3. Doesn't really care about the Shuriken. Okay, now he's running. Bit of seismic raw action. Now the Wraithguard can destroy these Termagants, who Bocchi has forgotten about, or maybe just doesn't care about. They're gone. Back towards the west side. Messy fight here. Howling Banshees retreating through a whole bunch of stuff. Can they survive it? Getting very low, but they do survive it, I think. Warp Spider has got really low too. Who's down? The Lictor Alpha is the only hero down at the moment. Should get revived eventually. He may be impatient and rebuy. We got some Fire Dragons up for Angel. Good damage versus all targets. Some kind of relatively short range. Got some good mobility though with their fleet and stuff. And they have the Dragon Scale armor upgrade where they can shrug off knockbacks. Oh, sneaky Gene Stealers here. And there's an Ethereal Slash to welcome them. They got wrecked by that. Some good work by that Warlock. He's almost level 6, this guy. Spore mines spawned from the Capillary Tower, detonating in amongst a bunch of Eldar fellas. Quite nasty, actually. What is this? Is this without number? Or like a Venom Brood? It's without number from Bulbus. Spawning in upgraded Termagants and Hormagaunts. Assisting this little push here. Kasuga 7's in with his Hormagaunts as well. One gen's going to go down, I think. Yep, one gen is down. Can they defend the others? Warp Spider Exarch. Well, the Exarch of the Warp Spiders gets flesh hooked and taken out, actually. That was a really good flesh hook. Lictor Alpha kicking some ass with this Toxin Miasma. This DPS stacks up quite nicely, I think. I think he can get a couple of hits in at least before the 3 seconds of the damage of time wears off, so he can stack up a little bit. Whole bunch of grenades chucked in there. Gets them to run, or maybe not. Double Hormagaunts and a Lictor Alpha still in here. Warlock in amongst them. These guys run. Did he retreat the wrong squad? Okay, these guys are also off. 252 to 391 on the BPs. Tier 3 for Angel. Tier 3 for all 3 Tyranid players, and we do have a Carnifex with Stranglethorn Cannon. Autark coming in. Almost wiping the Hormagaunts here. Can she do it? From DIsaPOinted. Inspiration on kill. Very mobile. Got some nice buffs and stuff. Wraithguard trying to get shots on this thing. And they won't get suppressed, the Wraithguard, by the Stranglethorn Cannon. They'll take a bunch of damage from it, but they will keep firing at normal rate. Grenade. Ravener Brood. One of them gets hit, but he's alright-ish. And now they reposition to take fire. They should take some cover here, these Guardians. They're not doing it. Autark gets her spear. It's a power melee spear, so can't really threaten the Carnifex, who just swats her aside there. And leaves back towards the northwest. Again, more pressure from the Tyranids. Double Gene Stealer Broods in there for Kasuga 7. Melee superiority, fellas. Power melee damage. They heal on hit. And if they use their Adrenaline Rush, they can heal even more on hit.
Quite a nasty little squad, especially under melee synapse, and you can benefit from your allies' melee synapse and synapses in general. 213 to 376. Can they focus down this warrior brood? There we go, some synapse bombs. Another one goes down, but they survive. Almost 2,000 hit points level 3 with adrenal glands. Much harder to pick off those models. 207376, 1-to-1 cap. A Swarm Lord coming through now for Bulbus. Tunnel taken out. Lictor Alpha finds his way in again. Banshee's there to counter-initiate. And there's the heavy gauge to stun him. Can they take him out? Maybe. Yes, they can. Bit of a sync kill from the Howling Banshee. Kicks him, shoots him. I mean, you've got swords, lady. Here's a tunnel, and there's acid splatter, I think. Awesome to see. Power melee weapon with a splash on it. The splash is not power melee, though, it's piercing. And the strengthened sinew. It's been a really good while since I've seen this. Usually you see the synapse aura, but this gives plus 1.5 speed to the Ravener Alpha, which is a scary amount. Down he goes, though, as I say that. Gene Stealer's coming in, and they also run. I think they could have stayed in maybe a little bit longer, but they were worried about the Banshees in there, I think. Almost level 4 Banshees and the potential grenades, of course, so it's a good plan, I think, to run off. Fire Prism in for Angel. Warlock taking the Western VP. Back towards the east side. There's a tornado formation at some point. In fact, it may have just happened and forced all this stuff off. Farseer has the Doombringer. Awesome weapon to debuff the damage resistance of a target. Perhaps this Carnifex. Does she have a Bright Lance? No Bright Lance. Does have double Wraithguard, though. And she can throw Guide on them. She's up against double Carnifexes. One of them with a Venom Cannon. Was expecting to see Thornback to get in on the Wraithguard, but maybe just going to rely on the Hive Tyrant Alfredo to do that. And there's a Swarm Lord for Bulbus. Super unit for Tyranids. Powerful combatant that provides a speed and reinforcement synapse around it, which is a big deal. Especially when you've got a big melee board. There's the Haywire Grenade. Disables attacks and slows you down. Didn't put much of a dent in the hit points, though. That's a good shot from the Fire Prism using the focused beam. Can the Carnifexes get on it? That's a good Stranglethorn shot, too. That takes the Banshees out of the fight, basically. They had to run after that. Hive Tyrant comes charging through. Level 3. Doesn't use the Seismic Roar, though. What happened, bud? Did he get heavy gauged and I just didn't spot it? Maybe. I don't think so, actually. The Warp Spider's got all of his energy. I don't know what happened there to the Hive Tyrant. He seemed to just get locked into place. Another Swarm Lord coming through, this time for Kasuga 7. Bocchi just lost something. Was it some Hormagaunts, maybe, or something? There's double Gene Stealers. One of them with Rending Claws, which is a heavy melee upgrade. The other staying power melee for now. Both have their upsides and downsides, of course. Meanwhile, the Farseer levels to 3. Wraithguard trying to escape all of the melee. Shuriken helping out, but these guys are reinforcing off the Swarm Lord. Can the Wraithguard even get a volley off? They're trying to. Oh, we got the Fleet of Foot global going on. Swift movement, or whatever it's called. I think helped to speed them up there. That's a Warlock global. And they are zipping around now. Okay, now they're off the field. Double Gene Stealers coming in. One of the worst things they could possibly fight, the Wraithguard. Ethereal Slash. Some really good hits on the Gene Stealers. That is really wrecking those guys. Level 8 Warlock, you know. Is it time for some Warp Throw shenanigans? We have a Seer Council from DIsaPOinted. A whole bunch of Warlocks. If one was bad, you get a whole five of them running around, jumping on you. And they're going for the Empowered Spears. Give them some heavy melee. I have read rumblings that Seer Council are considered maybe overpowered with those heavy melee spears. Maybe it should cost a bit more. It's only 30 power to get them in. Like a really fast-moving heavy melee squad with damage resistance built in is kind of nuts. Maybe that could be a 40 power upgrade, or maybe even a 50 power upgrade. I don't think it would be too expensive then even. Autarch jumps out, survives, buffs her speed, buffs her weapon damage. Carnifex can take on these Howling Banshees in melee, especially with Stranglethorn cannon support. What's going on over it? Lictor Alpha still down. Double Fire Prisms of Angel doing some good work, getting some big hits on these big targets. There's another Swarmlord though. This is Bulbus's. The original one, right? Gormagaunt's there, May White. They are reinforcing. There's some Leech Essence to drain health. Need to not let that Swarmlord get close to you, Mr. Fire Prism. This one needs to move. They can fire on the move, but then you can't specifically give targets if it's moving, kind of thing. I'm not sure how they choose them when they're moving. It's just whatever's closest. 148 to 234. Swarmlord. Can they get... There's another Fire Prism. Can they chase this thing down? They can. Swarmlord dealt with. Fire Prism's kicking some ass. I heard Banshee's war shouting in here. Eldritch Storm shuts down the Swarmlord, and they can get this one down too, I think. Maybe? They must be able to. All the Fire Prisms are stood around. There's quite an open map for vehicles and stuff. This guy's still alive. Carnifex was threatening that one. And the Swarmlord gets away, you know. Little burst of Leech Essence. The other Fire Prisms were occupied by stuff, and it gets out. Nice save from the Tyranids. Another Fire Prism. There's going to be 5 of them. And there's the Seer Council. Still trying to level up and stuff. There's a Webway in the southeast corner. A Neurothrope. That was a Cataclysm to knock those guys back, but they ran away. That Carnifex is low, needs healing. The Swarmlord obviously needs healing. This Carnifex also very low. Eldar are going to have 6 Fire Prisms. Can the Tyranids answer that? It's going to be really difficult. Another Carnifex falls, and that guy had Venom Cannon. Especially when you can throw Doom on stuff. The Fire Prisms are going to be great. How have the double Wraithguard done? Level 3 and almost level 2. They've done well. Better than I thought they would. Ravener goes down. Well, there's still one remaining. Little Cataclysm there. Neurothrope may have to run. Oh, throws out Paroxysm first and then runs. Or rather, floats slowly away. You gonna retreat, bud? Apparently not. Did he just use... I think he just used Spirit Leech to get some energy back off the Farseer, maybe. Lictor Alpha is up, level 5. 77 to 212 on the VPs. We've got 6 Fire Prisms around. Look at this. How are they going to cap the mid? Well, apparently just be sneaky and you can cap the mid. Oh, these guys are getting close enough. They can now see the Lictor. And they do stop the cap just in time. Or the decap, rather. Can the Eldar hold on to this army advantage they have? Got a bunch of VPs to make up still. Tyranids can recover, of course. Doom up on the Carnifex. Hive Tyrant getting in amongst the Wraith Guards. Can't tie them both up, though. Neurothrope getting smacked by the Autarch. Uses Absorb Life to drain some health and get some energy back. And a Tier 3 Lictor is here from Bulbus. 77, 156. Triple cap now for the Eldar. This is being decapped, is it? Or maybe not. We've got some melee Raveners, but there's 3 Fire Prisms here. What are you going to do, fellas? They're going to Burrow Strike this Shuriken. And level up to 4. But then the Fire Prisms say hello. They're using their Disruptive Shot. I feel like they should be using the Focus Shot against those guys. Much more killy. Disruption is great, but sometimes just murdering the fellas is better. Level 4 Hive Tyrant. And these Neurothrope and Carnifex friends. More Carnifex, more Swarmlord coming in. They need Venom Cannons for these guys, don't they? Lictor Alpha could maybe drop in a Venom Brood somewhere. Tyranids are taking Western VP. There we go. 1-to-1 cap, 77 to 99. The mid stays blue for now. They've got to try and stay mobile and keep their range with the Fire Prisms. Not going to be easy to control that many and also control your infantry well. We'll see how they do. Look how much damage those Fire Prisms take so quickly. There's a Throne of Formation. Almost takes that one out, and Eldritch Storm misses, I think, most things. But that Fire Prism's down. Ravener Alpha doesn't have... Oh, does have Corrosive Devourer. This can do anti-vehicle damage and stuff. Got the Reinforced Chitin. And of course that Strengthened Sinew. 62 to 99. Back to the east side. There's the Time Field. This new fancy effect. Hive Tyrant can still cap those, alright. Bunch of Eldar running off. Are we going to see a triple cap for the Tyranids here? Maybe not. Warp Spiders on the west side decapping. Another Lictor this time for Bocchi. Ripper Swarm fellas for Kasuga. Spawned from the Carnifex maybe? Oh no, this is a Venom Cannon guy. This guy does the Bioplasma. Must have come out of one of these capillary towers, I guess. Tier 3 Lictor goes leaping in. He's got heavy melee. Tries to get onto the Fire Prism. And down it goes. They can die so fast, these things. They're like paper. Another one goes down. Yeah, these Venom Cannons, especially when they get on rear armor, they just tear them apart. Absolutely tear them apart. 38 to 99, 1-to-1 cap. 2-to-1 now for the Tyranids. They've swung it back. And momentum's back on the Tyranid side, I think. I mean, they always had the VP lead, right? Sky Leaping Wartark there. She can be called back down for reduced cost. And she should keep her upgrades when she does so. Doom on the Swarm Lord. There's not a whole lot else the Farseer can do about it. Wraithguard are being tied up by this Lictor. Shot at by this level 3 Carnifex here. Farseer's going to die. Slain by the Swarm Lord. Over on the west side, a bunch of Tyranid stuff. They are capping. Fire Prism is here. We've got some Dark Creepers now for Angel. There they are. They can no longer get the anti-vehicle gun. They just have the area of effect psychic damage one on the Exarch, I think. Still super effective, but they're now more specialized anti-infantry. Avatar on the way for DIsaPOinted. You've got another Seer Council there for the Tenso. Maybe they should have gone into triple Seer Councils rather than all of the Fire Prisms. Get your Seer Councils up first with those fancy spears. 13 to 97. Mid is being decapped as well. This could be the end for the Eldar. I don't think the Avatar's going to make it onto the field even. They're trying to take the west side. It's going to be difficult. The Swarm Lord can Blade Flurry as well. There's GG. Yeah, and there's Blade Flurry at the end. Look. Was close. Awesome game. Had a level 10 Warlock. Did have the Providence. No Warp Throw though. Level 7 Warp Spider Exarch. With the Anti-Grav Grenade. Enhanced Jump Generator. And at Heavy Gauge, Farseer was down with Doombringer. Ravener Alpha did switch to this awesome ranged weapon. I'm sure it helped get some of the Fire Prisms down too. Awesome to see Strengthened Sinew. Lictor Alpha, level 5. Toxin Miasma, Adrenal Glands, kept that for the whole game, I think. And, of course, Alfredo, the Hive Tyrant, level 5 with Rending Talons. And, oh, Bonded Exoskeleton at the end. Well, there you have it, guys. Thank you for watching. It was a fun one, I think. Thanks to these players for playing us a faction war. The main man, the Tenso, for sending in the replay. And I'll see you guys next time.